On, guys, ChaseWins.com coming to you for Sunday, October the 4th. Big NFL Sunday ahead. I want to make this video as short as possible. It is getting late. Just rounded out the night's card, so I want to get the free play out. I'm going to give you a free play, and then one. We'll call it a lean for now. It's an underdog that I'm looking at, and there's still a lot of questions around this game. Talked pretty in depth with a client about this game a couple of days ago, and I'll give you the reasons why it still hasn't met the criteria of a premium play um, at this point. It very well could, but as of right now, it is something that I've laid about a half unit investment on just so I get it locked in case of any line movement, because right now it's actually sitting in our favor. And if it does meet the criteria of a premium play, you'll just get two for free. So let's do a recap of Saturday. As everyone knows, we had our very first college football game of the week, and it was a success, fairly easy one at that. We had Clemson, Virginia, over 54 and a half. It was released, I think I released it right around 3 a.m. Saturday morning. It was a game that I had my eye on all week, and the only reason that I was gun shy to release that or any big play earlier than that was just due to, as I was telling the client, you have an NFL team that tests positive for COVID. Things are getting pushed back. Then Cam Newton, tests positive. It pushes another game back. You've got one team that it's like they're just expecting them to test positive. They haven't yet, which we'll get into that in just a second. And there's still questions regarding some teams in college football. And so I did not want to get gun shy, release anything, have people buy a play that may end up not going off. Plus, there was some questions about two key defensive players. The one, I don't know if he rolled his ankle in practice. That was the report that I got from someone, that it was rolled his ankle, was out of practice for a day, minor swelling, ended up playing. And then there was one that was experiencing some neck problems. Didn't get into too much detail. They said it was some sort of nerve issue causing a lot of pain. Set out the majority of the week in practice, and until I knew that both of those key defensive players were going to play, I wasn't going to lock the wager in. So, but we did have one, Clemson, Virginia, over 54 and a half. I know that's what the line was when I locked it in. At game time, it was sitting at 55 and a half. So I know for the people that bought it, 2 hours before game time, that's probably what they got it at. But either way, it was an easy win. And this was after both teams really started the first quarter pretty poorly. Clemson really couldn't get out of their own way. They were really making poor judgment calls. Trevor Lawrence couldn't, I shouldn't even say it's his fault. His receivers really weren't reading him very well. He seemed to be doing just fine. And one thing that I respect the hell out of that kid, as much as people know that I hate that team, that I just disrespect about the rest of the team, is that he is so good at finding a defense that shows a sign of weakness, who becomes volatile, who's kind of stepping on their own feet, and who's taking steps backwards. That's when an offense wants to hurry up, get back to the line of scrimmage after a play, cram it down their throat, don't let them catch their breath. And in the second quarter, about midway through the second quarter, you really saw that with Trevor, where he was just go, 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 and he was signaling to his guys, get off your ass and let's go. He was yelling to the line, to the coaches, get me the play and let's go. And nobody wanted to play hurry up. They were like, it's Virginia, which they're right about that. Virginia is a joke at the very least. One thing that I heard tonight was that how well Virginia is coached. God, don't make me laugh. Don't make me laugh. Anyway, it started off slow. I think there was 34 points on the board at halftime, and it ended up going over. It should have gone over at the end of the third quarter. It didn't. With a little over 5 minutes to go in the fourth, it easily cashed over, and then I think there was even another touchdown after that. So it went well over the total. So congratulations to everyone on a huge, huge win. Our very first game of the week in college football for this season. The first of many, hopefully, and a big, big win. Now on the premium card today, we went 2-2. We cashed in LSU minus 21 and Alabama, Texas A&M over 52.5. That game should have gone over in the first half. It went over early in the third quarter, and that was because I really think some of the penalty calls that both teams got were really unnecessary, and it caused both teams to, for moments in time in the second quarter, to really slow down and catch their breath. Otherwise, we'd have gone over that total before halftime. Either way, easiest win of the day. We did drop Mississippi State, which was the free play. I'm not even going to get into all the reasons why I think they lost. The quarterback's not ready for the position he's in. Multiple times during this game, you saw him have over 7 seconds to stand back, do whatever he wanted to do. Nobody's near him. He's got 15 yards at minimum of wide open real estate to run, and he holds out second after second after second to make a 6-yard pass. Eventually use your head. Just because you're running a Mike Leach offense that wants you to throw the ball versus run it, why are you going to waste all that time and all that risk to make a 6-yard pass when you know you could pick up 15 before anybody can come within reach of you? It's fundamentals. I don't agree with it, but it's nor here nor there. As I said, Mississippi State, if they couldn't execute, they would not win, and they would not be able to cover that spread. Arkansas really didn't play that great. The score may say that they play. That's what people look at. Oh, well, look at what Mississippi State did to LSU. And now Arkansas comes out and outplays Mississippi State. You can't look at that. Arkansas really didn't play that good. Mississippi State just played terribly, awful. And then we have Florida State. Florida State, even though I've got a lot of respect for Jacksonville State's program, the amount of talent that Florida State has on their team and the fact that they were going out there and playing an FCS school, and it was going to be their very first game of the season, this game should have been a rout. And even though they won the game by 17 points, they needed to win it by 26. I just think that this Novell era may be the shortest coaching era in Florida State's history, period. I mean, I know obviously everybody knows it takes time for a new coaching staff to come in, build what they're going to do, and then be able to see whether or not it's going to be successful. You cannot play like that. There is no excuse. Your second string team should have been able to beat Jacksonville State on their first day, on their best day by 4 touchdowns. So even though you won by 17, the fact that you were getting beat the majority of the game, and at times by multiple touchdowns, proves that win is nothing more than what should have happened. It was not impressive. It was not a good win, and they should all be ashamed of themselves, from the coaching staff all the way down to the water boy. They should all be ashamed. It was pathetic. Another thing that I found pathetic was that Virginia, people talking about how well coached they are, was that towards the end of the game, they're down there within field goal territory. They make some bad decisions because the quarterback is the most predictable in all of the country. He rolls out to the same side every time. He sidearms the ball to the same 2 guys. If you can't figure him out, you shouldn't be playing the game. People that don't even know anything about football could figure out what Virginia's going to do by just watching them for a few minutes. They get down there within field goal range, easy field goal range, chip shot range. They go 4 and 6. They go down. It's 4th down. It's 4 and 6. 4th and 6. They're down by 17 at this point. Still plenty of time left. There's 9.5 minutes left on the clock, something like that. So not only do you have to get in the end zone twice, but then you're also going to have to get a field goal. So whether or not you make the rally and come back, if you do, the field goal has to happen. So when you're in field goal range, chip shot field goal range, with a kicker that has made 15 or 16 consecutive in a row, he's like second in all of FBS level football, one of the best in the country, they decide to go for it, 4th and 6, against a defense they really haven't been able to convert on all night. That right there is the worst coaching decision I saw made all day. But you're just terrifically coached. Virginia needs to be put in the American Conference and let UCF take over They're placing the ACC. Virginia has no business in a Power 5 conference in football. They're pathetic. Their coaching staff is a joke. It's almost as laughable as the people that think that Dabo Swinney actually coaches the Tigers. That's his team. Anybody that's in denial that that's not Brent Venables' team, you have no idea what you're talking about. Anyways, so premium, and then of course our huge top play of the day. If you play it by the ratings that I give you, it was still a huge day, a very profitable day. But then on top of it, I also gave out 4 other free plays. I gave out one on Twitter today, Army minus 31. It was close, but it took care of business. And then on video yesterday, I gave you 3 underdog leans. Coastal Carolina won outright, as I said they would, in blowout fashion. Georgia State won outright in blowout fashion. And then Air Force, who was catching 7.5 points when I gave that game out, won outright, 40-7. I'm telling you right now, I'm giving out a ton of dogs, and I think only one underdog is not cashed that we have discussed this entire college football season. So pay attention. Now, as we get into NFL Sunday, everybody knows that the price on the football packages is going back. People have been asking about NFL. Do I still have time? Do I still have time? You have until midnight on Sunday. The $4.99 price for the NFL season goes back to normal price at midnight, as does college football. So right now you can get either one of them for $4.99, or you can get the combo pass that gets you all of college football through the national championship, as well as all of NFL through the Super Bowl, all premium and daily top plays for $1,000. As one added bonus for the people that want to sign up on the last day, you can use coupon code OVER, OVER, lowercase letters. You'll get an additional 10% off. So you can get another $50 off on either one of the seasons, or you can get $100 extra off if you buy the combo pass. That coupon code OVER, over, is, and that's in celebration of our Game of the Week win, will be valid until midnight, until those packages go back up to normal. Do not email me after that time wanting to know why the coupon code doesn't work or why the prices aren't at that price. At midnight, it's over, and I won't even respond to the emails. Do yourself a favor. Don't be dumb. If you are going to be buying packages, get the best bang for your buck. Don't spend money every week to get it when you can get the rest of the season or seasons for one low price. We are 17-4-1 in NFL this season, and we're getting ready to have a big Sunday. So go get on that. NASCAR, 2 p.m., Talladega. Everybody knows how we feel about Talladega. Patrick has already got a big card almost locked in. Obviously, we are going to reconvene at noon on Sunday for our final meeting just to confirm everything, recheck lines. He is supposed to have his final inspection reports by 10 a.m. for the people he works with. That way he can go over that, and then at noon we'll have our call, everything, and then by 1 p.m. at the latest that card will be up and posted and everybody will be emailed. You can get the NASCAR Day Pass that'll get you every play we have in NASCAR on the website, or you can get now through the remainder of the season, which I think is 7 races. The races are $50 a piece, or you can get all 7 races remaining for a $100 bill. Both are at chasewins.com. Let's get on a free play. Free play. Ravens, Washington Redskins, or Washington football team. What a bunch of losers. That's still the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We've got the Ravens laying 14. I laid 13.5 at William Hill about 2 hours ago. As of right before I started this video, it was still at 13.5 at William Hill. A lot of offshore books, Bovada, MyBookie, BetDSI, Barstool, all those guys had it at 14. If you get it at 13.5, take Baltimore minus 13.5. If your book has 14, buy a half point and play it at 13.5. If you are not able to buy a half point because you deal with a local bookie who doesn't allow you to do normal things like that, you can lay the 14. I just back the bet off just a little bit. Because I prefer on numbers like that to always get below that standard number. I've heard a couple of people, talk about, and this was going back to the last game, Kansas City versus the Ravens, where they're going to have revenge. It's a revenge game because of the way they got beat by Kansas City. Well, why do the Ravens need revenge? They're not playing Kansas City. There's some animosity here because the Ravens and Washington are both the hometown teams. Washington has resented the Ravens since they came in the league. That is because that area, Northern Virginia, well, basically Central and Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland, was always a Redskins fan base, and it primarily still is. Even if you're in Baltimore, there's still more Skins fans than Ravens fans. But then the Ravens come in, they take over the city of Baltimore, kind of. Now that's their team. The stadiums are a mere half hour, drive apart, and if that. Well, anyway, Washington's held some resentment against that. So Washington loves to play tough against the Ravens. Now the problem is, with everything going on with Ron Rivera, and I've got the utmost respect for that man. Love him as a coach. Love him as a leader. Love him as just a human. You can tell that the sideline has kind of been run through the ringer a little bit. Not to mention the fact that Washington's just not a good football team. They figure out ways to score. They can't prevent other people from scoring, and usually scoring a lot more. Read between the lines of what I'm telling you here, guys. Read between the lines. Washington can score the ball, and they cannot prevent other people from scoring the ball, no matter who they are. Read between the lines on that. Total is sitting right now at, well, I actually got it at 45. It's 45.5 right now. Read between the lines. But play it at 13.5. Because there is no revenge factor here. There is the rivalry between those two teams. There is the one that wants the supremacy in that general area. Who is the team of Baltimore, of Maryland, of DC, of that area? And the fact that the Ravens came off of, listen, it didn't matter what was going to happen during that KC game. KC was the better team by far. They were going to get beaten that game. Problem is, not only did they get beaten the way they did, the Ravens played poor football to their standards. To what we know Baltimore's capable of, to what they've shown that they are, they play very poor football. So it's not really revenge, it's kind of redemption. To redeem themselves from the bad game, to get back on track with not just a win in that rivalry, but a big win. And we all know that Harbaugh and Jackson and Ingram, when those guys get on a roll, they don't let their foot off the gas. So when I crunched the numbers of these two teams, I came up with the Ravens should be laying 16.5 points. You take in the fact that this is somewhat of a rivalry game. And by the way, that 16.5 is with them being a road team. Then you take in the fact that this is somewhat of a rivalry. I gave another point to Baltimore, and the fact they're coming off of that very poor performance, I gave another point to Baltimore. So we're sitting at 18.5 points as a Baltimore favorite by my numbers. And the market's given us kind of a volatile line here. I see validity in the market. I see volatility in the market. And I just think that this line is a little bit of an overreaction. Baltimore exposed some of their weaknesses, but the problem is Harbaugh knows how to correct those weaknesses. So just as soon as you think you know them, which we know Washington will try to exploit them, they will have corrected them and they'll be moving on to something else. They're going to play fast. They're going to play smash mouth. And they're not going to let their foot off the gas. So either we have a somewhat runaway by NFL standards on the side of Baltimore, or we see another game by Baltimore where they play poor, they can't execute, and they have too many holes in their defense, and they put themselves out there for upset. One of the two. You're not going to see Baltimore come out there and play their football and play it well, and this game be close. It's either Baltimore's game to win in a rout, or Baltimore's game to lose. So I'm going to happily lay Baltimore in the points. I'm buying the half point, or I'm telling you to buy the half point down to 13.5. Lay 13.5 with the Ravens. Read between the lines of what I told you involving that total. And then as far as an underdog play, this game, I still waiting on a little bit of information, but as of right now, just an ever so slight favorite. I think that there's a little bit of value there catching 3.5 with the Vikings. I think that the Vikings as a regular season team should be favored. Truth be told, just these two teams up against each other, I think the Vikings should be favored by 1.5. Obviously, I get it that the Texans are the home team. So, but that's still 3.5 is just a bit too much. I think Texans are a lot faster. They're very poorly coached. Their quarterback is below average. I'm not even going to get into that whole merry-go-round again. You guys know how I feel. But we all know that until the playoffs and when Minnesota becomes utterly useless and can't get out of their own way, they're one of those regular season teams that are very hard to beat and are always in the conversation as to whether or not they can take it all the way. So even though I haven't locked that in as a premium play, I've got a little fun money on that one as a small investment just in case the rest of the information I'm waiting on doesn't go my way. But the line should be 3.5. So for a fun money and a lean, I'll gladly put 3.5 points in my back pocket with the Minnesota Vikings, just like I did last week, and it came in for us. So 17-4-1 NFL record. Go use the coupon code OVER, OVER, all lowercase, to get an additional 10% off the already heavily discounted NFL season pass, college football season pass, or the combo pass to get both. It all ends at midnight. Go to chasewins.com, sign up for a winning package. Congrats to everyone on a great day. A bunch of underdog leans and wins. That's how we do it. Be on the lookout on Twitter tomorrow at PicksChase for even more free plays on top of this one. Let's go have another big day, close out another huge week, and I'll see you all back from Monday. Love you guys.